Welcome everybody to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host Louis Sung, and after a brief hiatus, we are now officially back for the week. Yes, our internet went down, but thankfully we are back and we are ready to go, and the Miami Dolphins have actually given us something to talk about. So the Miami Dolphins have actually signed Chosen Anderson, formerly Robby Anderson with a Y, and also formerly Robby Anderson with an IE. So this gentleman has changed his names more times than anybody ever should, but we'll go ahead and discuss the actual optics of his signing. But before we do that really quick, just want to go ahead and mention that this show is brought to you by our friends and sponsors, You Brake Wheel Fix. You Brake Wheel Fix is the complete automotive wheel solution. If you ever park too close to the sidewalk curb, You Brake Wheel Fix can specialize in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, and curb rash to help you out. Or are your wheels faded or peeling? You don't need to replace them, as You Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, You Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, You Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at You Brake Wheel Fix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to youbrakewheelfix.com and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues, whether that's the NFL or if you want to get in on the MLB regular season that's just started, or you're jumping all in on the NBA playoffs, or maybe you want to go in on several different leagues all on one play. It's up to you to decide. All you have to do is choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. So if you think that they're going to give up 5 hits in the baseball leagues, or if you think that Jimmy Butler is going to score more than 26 points, all you have to do is choose whether he's going to get more or less than that number. They'll give you free squares over at Prize Picks. They give you special Taco Tuesday promotions. There are Flex Friday specials where you can get your money back if you lose, or even multiply the amount of money you can normally win. With offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up at this point if you have any interest in fantasy whatsoever. So use the promo code FIVE, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code FIVE. You just spell that out, FIVE. Go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code, deposit up to $100. They will match your $100, and we at 5 Reasons Sports are proud to have them as our sponsors. All right, so let's get into this whole thing. So the Miami Dolphins are adding even more wide receiver help. And for those of you who, again, are not aware, this gentleman by the name of Chosen Anderson is former New York Jets and Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Robby Anderson. So he changed his name because, according to him, essentially, he said via his Instagram post that those mistakes are part of my past. He said that he wanted to change his name in order to get a fresh start. And he turns 30 next month. He's still 29 years old. He's had a fairly interesting career, I'll say that. His first 4 years with the Jets, everybody knew that he had really good speed. He's killed the Dolphins a couple of times just with moves here and there while on the football field. Then he went to the Carolina Panthers. He joined the Cardinals last season, but with the Arizona Cardinals, he had, quite frankly, the worst season of his entire career. He only had 20 catches, 282 yards, and 1 touchdown, catching passes from Kyler Murray. Let's be real about something. Robby Anderson, or Chosen Anderson, or however you want to remember him as. Obviously, we're going to go by Chosen because that's the name that he wants to be called by, but everybody knows him as Robby at this point because that's the name that everybody's familiar with. So, Chosen Anderson is a very interesting pickup for the Dolphins. It's going to be a 1-year deal. He announced that he was going to be signing with the Dolphins via another video post where he basically revealed it by saying that he was going to be playing with Tua Tagovailoa. He put out a jersey of Tua, and that was how everybody found out that he was signing with the Dolphins, which I'll admit is very dramatic, and a lot of people were very happy to see that because Chosen Anderson, he was a South Florida product. He went to South Plantation High. And via his Instagram story, he even wrote that he was coming home and tagged the Miami Dolphins account. So even though the signing hasn't officially been made yet per se, if the Miami Dolphins have not come out and said that, oh, the contract has been signed, Ian Rappaport has gone out there and said that it's going to happen. So I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Now, what are the optics of this? Obviously, Chosen Anderson provides even more speed to an offense that is already predicated on raw speed. Tyreek Hill, obviously, is the fastest guy in the NFL. If not, at the very least, he's one of the fastest. I don't think there's anybody who's officially faster than Tyreek, but if there is, somebody please let me know. I would love to meet him. Jalen Waddle is up there with his speed. Obviously, now we're going to add Chosen Anderson to that list. And again, it's a one-year deal. It's not like we're looking at this guy and saying, you know what, he's going to be the best guy on the field at any point. If anything, he's right now going to be insurance for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle if something happens to them, because if something does happen to either one of those guys, he can easily step into that role because he can still replicate the type of speed that is needed for what it is that they do best. Whereas guys like Braxton Berrios, like, yeah, he's fast, but he's not like that fast. He's not Tyreek Hill fast. He's not Jalen Waddle fast. And then, of course, the Miami Dolphins still have Cedric Wilson on standby. Let's see if the Miami Dolphins actually manage to trade him, maybe get like a 4th or 5th round pick for him. Of course, there's always a possibility that he sticks around on the roster, too. He's already there. You might as well see if you can get anything out of him. And, of course, River Craycraft is coming back, and he knows the offense very well. So, Chosen Anderson, while he's definitely talented, and he's had really good years of his career, like probably the best one that he ever had was actually when he was catching passes with Teddy Bridgewater, of all things, which is honestly the most ironic thing of all, considering Teddy Bridgewater was Tua's backup last season and ultimately did not really do much of anything. Nevertheless, Anderson's best NFL season was in 2020. Teddy Bridgewater threw to him more than anybody with the Carolina Panthers. 95 catches, 1,096 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he went over 1,000 yards catching with Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback for the most time. So it's not like he's incapable. This is not a nothing signing. As much as we like to look at some of these veteran moves, these last-minute one-year pickups, some of them may actually be diamonds in the rough. There might actually be something to this one. And if that is the case, then once again we have to look at this Miami Dolphins wide receiver core and say, man, they're stacked. Because remember who's on the roster at this point. We're going to go down the list here, and we're actually going to see who exactly are we going to be projecting on here. And we're not going to go and assume that players are going to get traded, so that means we're including Cedric Wilson on this list. So as of right now, if you just categorize by position with the Miami Dolphins, on the very top you have Cedric Wilson Jr., Jalen Waddle, and then, yes, Freddie Swain. We've gone over him briefly. He could probably do some special team stuff if necessary. Braylon Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Eric Ezukanma, River Craycraft. We know what he can do when given the opportunity. Braxton Berrios, and then they're going to add Chosen Anderson to that list. At the very least, those first 4 are pretty impressive. Obviously, Tyreek is 1. You have Jalen Waddle as 2. And we're going to just assume, again, assuming, because we can't assume that somebody's going to be traded until he has been. We're going to assume Cedric Wilson stays on the roster, so Cedric Wilson would be 3. So who becomes number 4? If he gets through training camp, you can choose either Chosen Anderson or Braxton Berrios. So your top 5 wide receivers are all dudes who have established themselves as being productive players in the NFL. And that is not even including the likes of an Eric Ezukanma, who the Miami Dolphins drafted. He has shown that he is talented. He just wasn't able to get to the offensive mastery that Wes Welker was looking for last season. That was the only reason he was never able to touch the field, is because Wes Welker basically said he's not ready. And Mike McDaniel said, okay, he's not ready. And that's what opened the door for the likes of Trent Sherfield and River Craycraft and allowed those players to step in and do what they did. Braylon Sanders. Again, in preseason and training camp, Braylon Sanders looked good. He had his struggles in the regular season, but that doesn't invalidate any of the things we saw before. And he's going to have another opportunity to show that he can actually make some plays. So, again, I look at this wide receiver core, and even if the Miami Dolphins do trade Cedric Wilson, which it seems that they are very intent on doing, and if you manage to get an extra 4th or 5th round pick out of some team for Cedric Wilson and you manage to dump some salary, okay, good for the Dolphins. And they're still going to have Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. They're still going to have Braxton Berrios. And if Chosen Anderson gets to make it to the team, then that's wide receiver 4. You have a dude who was caught for over 1,000 yards in his career in one season with Teddy Bridgewater, of all people, and he's your wide receiver 4. So he's either incredible depth or he's probably one of the best insurance policies you can have for your star players. Because again, even though Chosen Anderson has not had the same level of production throughout his career as the likes of Tyreek Hill or even a Jalen Waddle at this point, you know that he's capable. And that's the important part. So this is not a nothing signing for the Miami Dolphins. I really like this move. I really think that Chosen Anderson could do something. Now that the offseason workouts are going to get started, we assume that he's going to be signing very soon, so they're going to get a chance to look at him, see what kind of shape he's in. He announced his arrival to the Dolphins by revealing a Tua Tagovailoa jersey. He must have some level of confidence that he's going to be able to actually do something with this team. And again, all he has to do is just prove that he's capable. If he can prove that he's healthy and that he's in shape, he's got a very good shot at making this roster, especially over the likes of guys like, again, Eric Ezukanma, who Wes Welker has already said that he was not impressed with his level of understanding in the offense, which is what kept him off the field in the first place. River Craycraft, I seriously doubt that Craycraft is in any danger of being poached by any team, so he could easily make it to the practice squad if push came to shove, because that's where he ended up landing most of the time last season. Braylon Sanders, same deal, practice squad player. Maybe some team might be interested in him if they're really desperate. Especially, I think they would pick Sanders over Craycraft just because of the youth and potential. The Miami Dolphins have a fantastically talented wide receiver core right now, and all this does is make it even easier for Tua Tagovailoa. I struggle to see how the Dolphins can't be improved. I struggle to see how any team could look at these Dolphins and say, you know what, they're not a threat. No team is going to look at them and say that they're nothing. And I suspect that some odds makers are going to start making some changes to how they view these Dolphins. Because, again, all Tua has to do is stay relatively healthy. If he can avoid the concussions, if he can avoid the little bumps and bruises here and there, that's all he has to do. So again, we come down to fixing the offensive line, but that's a whole other show. I've done many shows in the offensive line already, and I'm sure that I will do many more shows as the weeks progress leading up to the draft. There's only about 10 days left as of you're listening to this. So the draft is coming up very, very soon, and we're going to be keeping an eye on everything there over at 5 Reasons. We'll probably do another live draft show, which will be a lot of fun. As far as what's going to happen in the first round, I don't know if we will do a show. I'm going to talk to my 5 Reasons Sports Dolphins constituents. I'll talk to the 3 yards per carry crew. They're the ones who really run the show. I'm just kind of supporting everybody over there. But I enjoy doing what I do, and so that's why I'm very happy to be doing these shows for you guys. With that being said, if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about, please let me know. Because much like my weekly long show, Pulse of Fins Nation, I want this show to be about you guys. I always try to look and see what everybody's talking about. I always try to look and see what it is that has the attention of Dolphins fans, and I try to make shows based on that. So if at any point you guys want me to talk about something, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to hear from you guys. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you for listening. Chosen Anderson is a Miami Dolphin. I'm very interested to see where this goes, because back during his younger years with the New York Jets, he made a lot of Dolphins fans very miserable with his speed, catching passes over the top, just being an overall nuisance for the defenses. Now he's a Dolphin, and he seems to really like Tua. So just having that in his corner is going to help a lot, because if you show support for your quarterback, that means a lot. And he's doing it publicly, using Tua's jersey as the way of saying, I'm going to Miami. And he seems to be very happy to be playing back in his home state. So I'm very interested to see where this goes for Chosen Anderson. If this is indeed a fresh start for him, if this is indeed his way of saying everything that I've done before is in the past and I'm looking towards the now and the future, listen, more power to you, dude. I really hope that this works out for you. I'm really hoping that you're able to do something with the Miami Dolphins. But make no mistake, you've got your work cut out for you. So I hope you're in the best shape of your life, because you've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Jalen Waddle, you know that Braxton Berrios is hanging around, and you know that Cedric Wilson is still sitting there like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm still here. And we all know that Cedric Wilson can play. The Dallas Cowboys fans still remember that he can play. I think there are still some Cowboys fans that would still love to have him back if given the chance. So, Chosen Anderson, it's on you, dude. Now you got to figure out how to make this work. Again, thank you everybody for joining me. If you haven't already done so and you want to upgrade your ride with some new wheels or some new different perks. Like maybe you want to get your windows tinted, maybe you want to get your suspension modified, you want to get performance upgrades, You Break Wheel Fix will be able to have your back. Just make sure you call Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at You Break Wheel Fix, or you can shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at the same name, You Break Wheel Fix, and they'll be able to help you out. And once again, if you haven't already done so, go to PricePicks.com, use the promo code FIVE, that's FIVE. All you have to do is sign up using that promo code. If you haven't signed up before, use that promo code, put in up to $100, and PricePicks will give you $100 for free just because you deposited that $100. So you put in $100, they give you $100, and you can bet that $100 all the way through whenever you feel like it. You can bet it $20 at a time. You can bet it $5 at a time. You can bet it all in one big go and see if you can make some big time money. It's up to you to decide. That $100 in promo funds is yours to do with whatever you want on PricePicks.com. So again, use that promo code FIVE. That's FIVE. Go to PricePicks, sign up, use the code, and they will give you $100 for free if you deposit $100. That's going to be it for this show. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Fins Nation.